On this intense episode of View the Right Thing, Wes and Steve take us on a double header of not one, but two thrillers. First, a black police detective is reluctantly asked to help investigate a murder in a small racially charged town in the film that won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, In the Heat of the Night. Next, a modest businessman on a road trip finds himself being pursued and terrified by the driver of a menacing tractor trailer in this tense, harrowing TV movie, Duel, directed by Steven Spielberg. And now, it's time for View the Right Thing.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of A View the Right Thing.
Oh, yeah. Welcome.
I'm Wes Weizenhofer, and this is Steve Moulton.
I'm Steve Moulton here bringing you another episode of Indiana Jaws.
So, I have to start doing intros now, where I say who we are.
Yeah?
You know why?
Because that's just how shows work?
Well, it would make us more professional, that's one. But more importantly, starting next episode,
yeah,
there's a new co-host.
A new co-host?
A new co-host. I'm getting rid of your ass.
Hey!
Nah, we're not getting rid of Steve. We can never get rid of Steve. He's the reason that you listen to this thing.
Especially not all this ass. There's a lot of it.
Baby.
You'd need quite the meat mallet.
Gross. So, starting next episode, we're going to kind of alternate a thing. At least once a month, we're going to have our new co-host, Joey Hansa.
Joey Hansa.
She was previously heard in the Wonder Woman episode with Desiree.
Cool.
She will be joining me for a slightly different journey than the one you and I are on.
Go on.
Well, her theme is going to be more like big, fun, funny, exciting, action-packed. This will be comedies and action films.
Yeah.
And a lot of modern things. And
great big crowd pleasers. But is it the same
popcorn
rule? She
films.
can't have seen it?
Correct. She can't have seen it.
Cool.
And there's a lot of stuff she hasn't seen, apparently.
Wow.
So it's exciting. I'm excited to watch a movie with her. We'll talk about what movie that's going to be at the end of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Steve.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy? It feels like it's been a while.
I'm doing all right, It's almost the holidays.
It is. Well, I mean, it is the holidays.
Tis the season.
We decided not to do holiday movies this year.
We've been tizzing the season. Yeah, I mean, we did, at least 2 huge...
We did the important ones.
Episodes covering holiday movies. We covered...
Home Alone.
Gremlins. What's it called? The one that bores me to death.
The one that bores you to death. The one that takes place in Rare Exports?
No, Rare Exports was pretty cool.
I like Rare Exports a lot.
It's a Wonderful Life.
We didn't watch It's a Wonderful Life, did we?
Oh, we didn't?
I
thought for sure we did.
I don't think we did we?
I just always feel like...
We did?
We did.
We did not. I feel 90% sure we did not.
I feel like no matter how long ago I watched It's a Wonderful Life, it was too recently.
Maybe next year we should do Die Hard.
No,
I love Die Hard.
Die Hard's great, but I'm tired of all this. Die Hard is the best Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I'm okay with people being like, it is a Christmas, but everybody's like, oh, no, it's the best Christmas movie.
It feels that way this year. So, maybe next year it won't feel that way, and we can talk about... I would like to see... Here's the thing.
Die Hard's great, but it doesn't need our help.
Here's the thing. People say that... Oh, we see the parrots outside. People say that Die Hard's a Christmas movie, but nobody ever points and explains why it's a Christmas movie.
Because it takes place at Christmas time.
No. I think we could...
That's all they ever say.
And that's the thing. Maybe we should talk about it next year and really get into it and really dissect the film as a Christmas film.
It's not, though. It's a crime movie that takes place at a Christmas party. Totally.
I disagree.
Doesn't make it a Christmas movie.
I disagree. But I don't want to say the reasons why I disagree, because then we might as well just do an episode on Die Hard.
You know why we can't do Die Hard?
Why?
We both watched it. Oh, yeah.
We both have seen Home Alone and
Yeah,
Gremlins.
I know, that's true. I hadn't seen Gremlins.
Yes, you had.
I had. That's the sound of me nodding.
And almost all of our Halloween films this year were movies that we both had seen.
I'd never seen Trick or Treat.
You're a liar. That was your pick. The only movie that you hadn't seen was
Return to Sleepaway Camp.
And aren't
enough
you glad
about
you've
that
seen it?
movie. What?
Are you glad you've seen it now?
Glad is a relative term.
No.
What are we
Come
talking
on,
about
man.
tonight?
Tonight?
I think we should talk about
It says your mic's reading. the clock.
1967's In the Heat of the Night.
Yep.
Since we are in mid-December here, and we are having some chilly nights finally out here in Southern
La La
California, we should be talking about In the Heat of the Night. Asterisk, I can never remember the exact melody of the In the Heat of the Night song.
Or how to say In the Heat of the Night.
That's as close as it's going to get. Well, I didn't want to infringe on any copyrights.
Yeah,
I should
you'll
stop
sound too much
fucking
like
around.
it.
Yeah.
And we have a second film. From now on, Steve and I will always have a second film, and it will always be a certain director.
Well, not like from now on, but for many episodes to come.
I mean,
Like
for the foreseeable
for like
future.
30 episodes, maybe.
More than that, my friend.
Wow. Because we are watching all of John Waters' movies.
Yeah, that'll take no time at all. No, we are watching all of Steven Spielberg movies.
Hang on. Steven Spielberg?
Yes, and we're watching them in order of when they were released.
We're watching every Steven Spielberg movie in order of release.
Yeah, that's true. That is the situation. So,
Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
Bridge of Spies.
Yeah, that's way late though. That's like years from now.
The one he did before Bridge of Spies.
Cool.
What did he do before Bridge of Spies?
Man, don't.
He takes such a great big break sometimes. But we're
Bridge of
starting
Spies,
at the
Bridge of
beginning.
Spies isn't even his most recent film.
Yeah, that's true, huh? Yeah. But we're starting at the beginning of the Steven Spielberg cycle. The Steven Spielberg
Era epic. Steven
repertoire?
Spielberg epic. The Odyssey that we're going on, the Steven Spielberg Odyssey.
Whoa. Otta Steven Spielberg.
As some people may know, Steven Spielberg's my favorite director.
Yeah.
I'm excited to...
You're a regular Dawson Leary
Okay.
from Dawson's Creek.
I think I've seen an episode of that.
Well, Spielberg was his favorite director.
Well, that's
and
exciting.
Joey used to break his balls for it.
Well, she can shut her face.
Not no more, she can't.
Her. Because it's stuck to Jamie Foxx.
Oh! Is that a thing? That's
Yeah,
happening?
they're a thing. They're an item.
I never knew that.
Katie Holmes and Jamie Foxx. Well, it's new. It's a new thing.
The Fox and the Holmes.
Maybe by the time this comes out, they won't be anymore. I don't know.
Oh, come on. Wish them well.
Of course.
What are we talking about tonight? We're talking about In the Heat of the Night and Steven Spielberg's first major directorial debut.
His first feature. I mean, he did TV shows and he did, like shorts and stuff on his own. Like people will point back to like Amblin or whatever.
Yeah.
Was it Firelight? People will point to Firelight, but
Cool.
that's like when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't really count.
No.
We're talking about what did you direct
As a professional,
that the world got to see?
I'm excited to talk about Duel.
Duel.
But we'll get to that in a minute. Have you been to the old theater recently?
I'm about to be at the old theater.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what was the last thing I saw in theater? Oh, was The Disaster Artist.
I haven't seen it yet.
I loved
Yeah.
it. I'm in a very
good reviews.
conflicted position.
Why?
Without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I lived in a world where the room never existed,
Oh, yeah.
but also The Disaster Artist never ended. I loved it so much.
Interesting.
It was such a
Yeah.
weird, fun, funny movie to watch.
It's interesting because I wonder what people must think having not seen The Room.
Right.
I'm sure, from what I understand, it's still like The Disaster Artist is still a very good film.
Yeah.
And very funny and very enjoyable. But there's like some part of me that's kind of like, it seems almost like a shame because there's something that only people who have seen The Room are going to get out of the Disaster Artist.
Sort of. Can I tell you this?
If it doesn't spoil anything.
It's not a spoiler at all.
Okay.
2 friends of mine have seen The Disaster Artist completely separately.
Yeah.
Neither of them have seen The Room.
Yeah.
They both agree Disaster Artist is an absolutely great movie. even if you haven't seen The Room.
No. I believe that. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that they wouldn't think that. I've heard that it's very good. I'm saying there's another element that only people who've seen The Room
like
will
if you've
understand.
tortured yourself by making yourself sit through The Room, you appreciate Disaster Artist more.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't even know if it's that you appreciate it more. I think it just opens different doors for you that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. That's my guess.
All right.
I haven't seen Disaster Artist, so I don't know.
It's fun, man.
I have seen The Room multiple times though in the theater.
I've seen it 1.25 times.
I own it.
Do you?
I do. Well, it was it was bought for me as a gift.
Yeah.
But I would have bought it. I would have bought it anyways. I think it's a fun film. I think even though it's unintentional, I think the movie's ahead of its time in some ways.
Ahead of its time.
Yeah. There's a lot to actually really like about that and its ambition.
Yeah.
But it's so bad.
How is it ahead of its time?
We could talk about that another time.
All right.
Because I haven't seen The Disaster Artist. I want to
It's so fun.
delve too much into
it so much.
I have not seen anything in forever.
Nothing? You haven't seen 3 Billboards?
I have not seen 3. I really want to see 3 Billboards.
What about Lady Bird?
I have not seen Lady Bird. I really want to see Lady Bird.
What about Murder on the Orient Express?
Nope, haven't seen Murder.
I saw that.
It's lower on my list because I've heard not great things. It's too bad. I was hoping it would be like at least a good movie, if not. Like I knew it wasn't going to be anything special.
Yeah.
Because it's a remake and it's a very classic piece of literature.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would just at least be good quality filmmaking.
It is very beautifully made.
Well, I mean,
give it that.
And performed and stuff. I mean, then you can't say the writing's bad because
right.
So it just sounds like it just wasn't anything new for you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just like I got to the end of it. I should also point out, 20 minutes into the movie, an older couple came in to a very empty theater.
Yeah.
Sat,
in
guess
front
where?
Of you. Right in front of you.
Right behind me.
Oh, behind you and talked.
Talked a lot.
Did you tell them to be quiet?
I went shh several times because that's all I do. I do a very forceful shh.
Yeah.
And it usually gets the message. Worked in Force Awakens.
They couldn't hear you. They were too old.
You may be right. Disappeared from the theater. They sat down for 10 minutes, talked, crinkled a bunch of crap for 10 minutes. Left the theater, came back in 40 minutes, watched 20 more minutes of the movie, and left early. And I just who spends their evening like that?
Theater etiquette. We keep talking about doing a theater etiquette episode.
And these were older folks. They had to be in their 50s or something based on the raspiness of voice and the...
I almost don't even want to go see movies in the theater anymore. And I'm like, that's my church, man.
I love seeing movies in the theater.
too.
And I'll put up with a whole lot of mess. Like when I saw Thor 2, man, there was probably like 10 teenagers sitting right behind me who just thought they had the Mystery Science Theater the whole way through it. But you know what? They were at least funny. They were cracking good jokes.
You don't mind going to some of those theaters. Like the one we went and saw, the Desmond Dawes movie.
Oh, the $3 theater.
Hacksaw Ridge, yeah. We went and saw that together. And you don't mind seeing movies there, but...
I don't mind seeing movies there at all.
There is a dollar theater, same company.
$1?
Well, on Tuesdays, it's $1, I think.
Wow.
Down the street from here. It's like 3 minutes away. Drive.
That's incredible.
It's very close. I went and saw John Wick 2 there.
J-Dub 2.
And it is leaps and bounds better than that theater that you and I went to for Hacksaw Ridge.
I believe it.
I think it's just a slightly more upscale clientele in this area.
Yeah.
So I think.
Oh yeah, the neighborhood where our theater is. I mean, that place. People treat that theater like not just their living room, like their basement rumpus room.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But sometimes I will luck out and I wind up in a theater with hardly anybody there, and I can actually enjoy a movie. I'd say it's like 75% good movie watching experiences.
Have you seen any good trailers lately?
Well, I've seen the trailer for Avengers Infinity War, and I've been trying to block it from my memory because it shows a lot, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, I think the trailers show everything now. I suspect in this case, in Avengers, now I haven't seen it, and I refuse to watch it.
Yeah, man, it shows so much.
But that's not because so much I'm worried that they're going to show too much. That I only want to see that stuff on the big screen at this point. If it's
Yeah.
a movie I'm already hyped for, like they released a teaser for the trailer
Yeah.
the day before, and it was all about fans watching the trailers for the first time and,
Oh, wow.
and recording their reactions.
Oh, that's
It was all
cool.
like reaction videos. So they like culled videos from the fans.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need any other trailer to make me want to see Avengers now.
Exactly.
This is all I needed was people going, we are a community of people who love these films. We're really excited for this movie. We know it's coming out. This is the date.
That's all I need to know,
Yeah.
baby.
But if I am going to see it, it better be on a big screen. Not on my
Right.
computer, not on my phone.
I sort of saw the newest Star Wars trailer on a big screen.
I still have not seen the Star Wars trailer.
You want to know what I did?
No.
I
Yes.
went and revisited Path of the Jedi.
Oh, cool. And they
And
had,
so-
they had a new thing there?
They put, so they wove the newest trailer into the Path of the Jedi montage.
Well, I'm glad I didn't see that because I
And,
would have been mad. I would have been like, nope.
See, but I'm okay with seeing it at Path of the Jedi because it's on a great big beautiful screen.
Except that
With
Mark
laser blasts.
Hamill and Ryan Johnson both have said, do not watch the trailer.
Wow, really?
Yep, they said it gives away something important.
I can see that being the case.
Yeah.
Another one I'm trying to block from memory.
I've had people tell me that they wish they hadn't watched it.
Yeah.
As soon as they said this like months and months ago, they were like, do not trust Disney marketing on this. They're going to spoil something.
Whoa.
They knew way back then.
You're
Months ago.
telling me they announced it, but neither of them texted me to let me know that?
I know. Can you believe it? And it's funny
pretty
too
sad.
because like
Pretty
I
sad
saw
about this.
somebody tweeted at Ryan Johnson and said, I thought because when the trailer came out, I think he's sort of like contractually obligated to be like, hey, this thing's out.
Yeah.
And people were like, I thought you said don't watch it. And he's like, I'm really conflicted about it because I'm excited for the movie and I want people to see stuff, but at the same time, it gives things away.
Yep.
So I have avoided it. It did come on during a movie, and I closed my eyes and ears and sang to myself during
Yeah.
the trailer. And then somebody let me know that I was being annoying and the trailer was over.
Fair enough.
That's not actually what happened. Somebody just let me know.
Oh, did
Walt's here.
Walt let you know?
In case the viewers want to know, Walt
Yeah.
is here.
Let's view the right thing, hound dog Walt Dogsney.
I'll tell you a trailer I did watch.
Yeah.
Rampage.
Yeah, I saw that. Where did I see that? Keep talking.
It doesn't look good,
Oh, Justice League.
but it looks like
It's going to be fun.
it looks exactly what a video game movie based on that. Like it looks like what it should be. Why are you making that face?
What if Rampage turns out to be the first good video game movie?
I don't think it's going to be good. I think it'll be fun. There's a difference between good and fun.
True, but so far,
It doesn't
video
look-
game movies have been neither.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but
Yeah.
it does look like it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm glad that they got all three of the critters in the trailer.
I am too. Now it's the guy who played Rammy in Super Troopers. He's the Ram. And then
What are you talking about?
Paige Davis from Switch Trading Spaces. She's the Paige, right?
What are you talking about?
Rampage.
Oh,
It's about Jay Chandrasekhar plays Rammy in Super Troopers, and he's like, "Hey, I'm still a Vermont State Trooper." And then Paige from Trading Spaces is like, "I'm Paige. What are we doing?" And he's like, "Ram, Paige," and then they destroy a
it was
city.
Ramathorn.
Arcot Ramathorn, yeah.
Yeah.
Rammy.
No, stop it. Although I can't wait for Super Troopers 2.
I can't either. But
April is so far away.
you wanna hear something?
Yeah.
We've been waiting for like
I
17
know,
years.
I know, but now that we know there's a date, it's like it feels so far away.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna be exciting.
I mean, it could just be hype from the filmmakers, but the rumor is
Yeah.
it is better than the first one,
Wow.
which would be really hard to do, and it has connections to the other films in their universe, including the Slime and Salmon, which
What?
has me excited.
What about Dukes of Hazzard?
Well, that's not in their same universe, I don't
Yeah,
think.
that's true, but they directed it.
Well, Jay
Jay
directed that.
Chandrasekhar and he put all the guys
Yeah.
from Super Troopers in it. I don't care what anybody says. Dukes of Hazzard was an enjoyable film. It had great muscle car action and great classic rock,
I don't feel one way or the other about
and
it.
those are the nicest things I could say.
Okay. There was another trailer that I was trying to think.
Did you see Justice League while we're talking about trailers and what we've seen in the theaters?
I didn't see Justice League now.
I saw Justice League.
It's so
and I think
far down my list.
I think I figured out what DC is getting wrong that Marvel gets
I
right.
know exactly what DC is getting wrong, but go ahead.
So I'm watching it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, wow, I mean, I was enjoying the movie. It's fun and all. And anytime Gal Gadot is on screen, I'm like, whatever to the rest of this movie. Thank God she's on screen. That's great. She's a wonderful, beautiful person. And she's doing good with her fame. But it occurred to me late in the movie, Marvel takes...
Marvel? DC?
No, Marvel takes comic book heroes and turns them into cinematic movies about comic book heroes. DC, whether they know they're doing it or not, seems to be taking comic book heroes, trying to make them look like they're pulled out of a video game, and then turning them into a movie.
I don't think that's really the problem. I mean, I
don't think they even know that they're doing it.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know that that's actually the issue. I think
that's
the issue
a big part of it.
I think the biggest piece of the issue is writing. I think that they saw Avengers and saw dollar signs and they don't want to put the work in.
Maybe.
And, you know, they had just finished Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. And then they're like, all right, we're doing this whole new thing. And it's like...
Yeah, heck, I mean, what? Dark Knight Rises was 2012. And then Batman Superman was what, 2014, 15?
Yeah.
It was so... Or no, Man of Steel was like pretty close after Dark Knight Rises. Like
Man of Steel was very close. Well, the trailer for Man of Steel was attached to Dark Knight Rises.
Oh my God, that's right.
So
2013.
I mean, you can't connect those movies that way and then be like they're not connected.
Right.
So I think they just didn't want. I mean, that's what Marvel did correct, right?
Right.
They gave Ant-Man his own movie first. They gave, you know, Black Panther was not in Civil War very much.
Right.
I mean, he may have appeared first there, but he's getting his own movie before he's really involved with the Avengers.
Right.
You know, they made multiple 3 Iron Man movies and
3 Captain America.
I mean, it just they put the work in. And
I hear you.
Again, Spider-Man's hardly in Civil War.
Right.
You know, and then they gave him his own thing, and they did that so they could bypass doing an origin story because nobody wanted to see Spider-Man origin story again.
Yet again.
So
it would be what, the third one in this millennium?
Yeah. I also think that the other issue that they have is goes from a writing perspective in quality, and they have people who aren't real fans of the comic books writing the stories, and people who it's like they don't understand the mythos behind superheroes. You know, like that Man of Steel movie, like that's not Superman at all. And Batman versus Superman, Batman is just like it's the most un-Batman he's ever felt, I think, in film.
You think so?
He's up there with the Adam West Batman, I think.
How dare you, Wes?
Yeah.
Your name is West Weizenhofer. How could you possibly besmirch my reputation like that? That went a little Tom Brokaw.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Moulton. I am not, by any means, a professional impressionist.
Nope. Yeah, so that I think those are the 2 main problems with DC. They just don't understand the books well enough, the characters well enough. I mean, a big piece of why people want to see Superman movies is because he's a Boy Scout. That's one of the defining characteristics of Superman.
Right. And
the moment you make him this moody guy who hates human beings, it's kind of, I don't know, it's disappointing. Batman, like, gleefully just killing people left and right just feels wrong, too.
A little un-Batmanish.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that Batman can't kill people. I mean, look, I have heard some people make this argument that, like, Batman doesn't ever have a gun, but if you go back and look at old Batman comics, he has a freaking gun.
Yeah.
And Batman can't kill people, but, like, I went back and read the old Detective Comics, and I was like, I'm going to start at the beginning, Detective Comics, and start reading those old ones. I didn't go too far.
Killed Kennedy.
Okay, that's... in, like, the second or third story, there's, like, these people who've been kind of mutated, and rather than, like, try to find a solution for them, he hangs a noose from his Batwing, essentially, his bat plane, and catches the dude in the neck and just hangs him. And there's a shot of the Batwing flying across the horizon with just like a dead body hanging from a rope from the bottom of it. I mean, it's not
Good
like
grief.
It's not like Batman hasn't killed people or hasn't wielded a gun,
Right.
But there is something about like what we've come to understand Batman to be, and modern Batman especially, and even I think the old Batman, in that it's not a gleeful thing for him.
Yeah.
It's not something he gets joy or a reward out of.
Yeah.
And
he's not the comedian.
Haha, exactly. Actually, that's a really good point.
Get it?
Yeah, I get that. No, that's actually a really good point, because the comedian is sort of supposed to be kind of Batman-esque, right? Like he's supposed to be this kind of like, yeah, he's the comedian, but he's also this like dark, imposing thing that like you fear.
Yeah.
Because he's so brutal. Batman's not supposed to go that far. I don't feel like branding people specifically so they get killed in jail by other prisoners.
That was pretty messed up.
That's screwed up. That's not very Batman-like.
That was pretty
All right,
messed up.
I've got a lot more I could say about DC and their.
Yeah.
I will.
Dear DC, we want you. We want better. We want good movies about these guys.
Can I actually
go for it?
Say one more thing.
Yes, please.
Just make more Wonder Woman movies.
I'm down for that.
Every Wonder Woman movie, have it take place like roughly 10 years later. Do different decades, different styles and time periods.
Oh, so you're talking. Let's take it all the way back and then go 40s Wonder Woman, 50s Wonder Woman,
right?
60s Wonder Woman. Wow.
Yeah, like how cool would that be to like see her progress through the ages?
That'd be pretty cool.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see, anyways.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, get rid of Brett Ratner.
It sounds like they might have.
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot's not coming back if they don't.
Whoa.
So, you know.
Wowzers. Oh, I missed
all
a
right.
phone call. All right, let's motor.
There's one other trailer. There's one other trailer I wanted to
Which
tell you.
other trailer?
There's a Spider-Man trailer. There is an animated Spider-Man film hitting theaters next year.
Say what?
Starring Miles Morales.
What?
It's called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Holy
and
crap.
there's a teaser trailer for it, and I watched it, and I was like, the animation looks really cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the camera angles and stuff, but the composition is really, really interesting.
Awesome.
And they tease, obviously more than just Miles being Spider-Man.
That's
if anybody's
pretty cool.
read the Spider-Verse comics storyline,
Yeah.
they know how cool it is.
Now.
Yes, sir. Oh, you want to talk about the trailer that I sent you?
No. Is it true
Yeah.
that this Miles Morales Spider-Man movie, what's it called? Into the Spider-Verse?
Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse.
Is it true that we're finally getting what we've been wanting for about 15 to 20 years now? Spider-Man versus eight-legged freaks?
No. They're not part of the Spider-Verse.
Oh, if only.
You know who all the Spider-Men are in Spider-Verse.
All of them?
Spider-Buggy, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. They're part of the Spider-Verse. And when they did that storyline in the comic, there's references to them. If you don't see them, they at least talk about them. Even the Japanese Spider-Man.
Spider-Man? That's pretty kick-ass.
Yep.
Spider-Man. He has the big flying robot and stuff.
He does. The big flying robot plays an integral part in the comic book story.
That's pretty kick-ass.
I get the feeling that this is not going to actually follow the comic book storyline. I think it's going to be just like that's an inspiration behind it. But
And that's okay.
yeah, that's totally fine. I'm very excited about it.
There's another new Marvel cartoon coming out. It's going to be a Secret War feature-length cartoon, I think. Yeah. I don't know if it's going straight to theater.
I feel like you're lying.
No, this is true. I saw an
it.
article the other day, and it was something about Haley Atwell's going to do Peggy Carter's voice in it.
Cool.
And I won't tell you what happened in the clip that I saw because it spoils a lot. But I was looking at it, and I was like, I could watch this whole cartoon.
Well, I think I was wondering when I saw this trailer and the fact that it's coming out in theaters, I was like wondering if this is their way of still kind of giving fans, because there's a lot of fans who want a Miles Morales movie.
Yeah.
But let's face it, there is no Miles until they get Peter correct for a while.
Yeah.
There's no Miles Morales movie coming. I don't think. I'd be real surprised.
Interesting.
All right.
Sad. Makes me sad.
Whether there's no Miles Morales movie,
Yeah.
I'm all right with it. I want to see Peter be done correctly. You know, I want to see Peter have his adventures for a while, and then you can.
You didn't like when he went goth in Spider-Man 3 and had a jazz dance?
No, he did he did Saturday Night Fever, right?
Oh, I thought it was set to like jazz.
I can't remember.
Disco.
Well, he does the Saturday Night Fever moves. In it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's disappointing. Did you want to talk about the Midnight Sun trailer or no?
Slinging a web.
No?
Take the lead.
No, I'm good. I'm good on that one.
All right. Well, I'll just brush over it real quick.
Yeah.
Viewsters, you know I like to have a good laugh, and one of my favorite fallback jokes is the classic and beloved Marvel Comics character, Midnight Sun. You might know him. He's a purple android. He's got weird discs on his hands and feet that allow him to skate around in outer space. He also wears a gray cape and a gray fedora in space. There is a movie coming out called Midnight Sun. It has absolutely nothing to do with that guy, and that's about all I'm going to say about it.
So Steve, for years, has
decades, sir.
Well, I mean, I've only known you for years.
Yeah.
Pretty much as long as I've known Steve, has brought up Midnight Sun just kind of out of nowhere, and we're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, when are we going to get the Midnight Sun movie? You've heard it on the podcast before. When are we going to get the Midnight Sun movie?
I'd say 5 times an episode.
And when I saw that Bella Thorne has a new movie coming out called Midnight Sun, I immediately texted Steve and was like, it's finally happening.
And I loved every minute of that text.
Yeah.
I thought about, I imagined you in your home crafting the text.
Yeah.
And the smile on your face.
Oh, I had a big smile on my face.
And then I watched it and I was like, you got me, Wes. You got me. You Midnight Sunned me.
I Midnight Sunned you. Oh, boy. All right. So you want to talk about In the Heat of the Night? Okay. What's this movie about? It's about racism.
It's about racism. It's about Southern justice. It's about murder. It's about investigation. It's about, those 5 things.
Yeah.
Where does it begin? It begins with a cop whose name I've already forgotten. Officer Sam Wood. I almost called him Sam Good.
Sam Wood.
Officer Sam Wood, played by Warren Oates.
Oates.
I wish he were. What if Hall & Oates played the one character? He's out driving in the middle of the night. Well, really, it starts with him trying to get a piece of pie at a diner. No pie. He goes out driving in the middle of the night, sees a naked girl hanging out in a window with the lights on, and then turns a corner in his squad car and finds a dead body.
You know what's interesting about the naked girl, Dolores?
Yeah?
I thought the most interesting thing visually about her was not when she was naked.
Okay.
It was her face and sort of that smile she had on her face.
The smile she had
She
on her
just had
face.
this really devious, mischievous grin. And there's a scene where they talk to her and she should be upset.
Yeah.
And the focus pulls away to the other actors in the room, but if you watch her, she is having fun.
Yeah.
In the scene. And it's telling for her character, too.
Yeah. Because she
Anyways.
knows she's about to get away with some bull.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just thought
Hey, that's
she's
all right,
interesting.
man. Yeah, she's an important part of the story, as we'll come to find out.
Yeah.
With her clothes on, even. So Warren Oates is looking at her through her window as she drinks a cold soda on a hot Mississippi night, right?
Pepsi Cola.
Was it Pepsi Cola?
Yeah.
And, she glances out the window. She sees him looking. She doesn't offer him a Pepsi.
No, viewers are getting an insight into what I look at when there's stuff on screen.
Well,
It's like a naked woman. I'm like, yeah, she's drinking a Pepsi Cola.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and salute the people who made In the Heat of the Night back there in 1967.
With all their different product placement?
The product placement. But also, they had a naked woman on screen.
Strategically placed in the window frame.
Right. They don't show full frontal nudity, right? You see the window frame going across her chest.
Yeah.
So she's covered there. You don't really see below the waist at all, so she's covered there.
The bottom of the frame is there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you're basically seeing a woman who, she might be wearing a bikini for all we know.
And she comes closer to the window, and the camera angle changes, and
Correct.
they
still keep her covered. And I salute them for that.
Yeah.
Because there are so many movies out there where they'll show a girl naked, and then later reveal that the character is supposed to be 16 or 17 years old.
And
this girl was supposed to be 16 years old,
Right.
so they kept her covered, and I appreciate that, especially for the 60s. Now, then again, that was the, 67. Movies went real crazy in the 70s, and that's when a lot of the real nudity really started.
Right.
But so good for them. I salute you guys. I'll shout it backwards 40 years. Warren Oates, finds out about the murder. Other cops come down to the crime scene where they found this dead body. Who's his commanding officer? The chief of police. Mm-hmm. Who is he?
You mean the actor, Rod Steiger?
Rod Steiger. On the waterfront.
Yeah.
Mars Attacks, and so much more. Is that your Mars Attacks?
No, that's Mars Attacks.
Oh yeah.
No, that was my chief of police from this movie.
Oh yeah, he was constantly chewing gum.
Went through 263 packs of gum.
Good night, Irene.
On the set of this.
Packs, not just pieces.
Packs.
Packs.
That's what I understand.
Holy crud.
He Norman Jewison, the director, wanted him to do this, and he was resistant, but then eventually found it to be a cool affectation for the character.
Wow. See, it's funny because you hear a lot. People tell actors all the time, don't be chewing gum, don't be chewing gum, don't be chewing gum. Here we have In the Heat of the Night, Rod Steiger chewing gum in almost every scene.
Well, I mean, it's great because you have this character who does this super, super annoying thing.
Uh-huh.
That if he was any deputy, would be told to knock it off and spit his gum out. But nobody can say anything to him. There's a real
Chief Gillespie.
There's a real Chief Gillespie. There's a real definition of power in the film. The townspeople respect his power. His deputies respect his power, and even to a great extent, Sidney Poitier's character, Virgil, respects his power.
For sure.
And so to give him, and there are some likable things about this character. He is trying to do the right thing. He does it the wrong way a lot. And he is, he's racist. He's not
super racist.
Oh, he's not.
But he's
not crazy racist like the other people in the town.
Right.
He wouldn't go out of his way to kill Virgil. Really.
Right. But he's very much just know your place, and that's still very wrong.
It's very racist. I'm not saying he's not racist.
Yeah.
But there are other redeeming things, and the two characters do find some common ground late in the film with each other.
Yeah.
And so I think it was nice that they found sort of an innocuous annoyance about this guy to kind of delineate he's got some annoying things, but he's also the seat of power, and he does have some likable things about him too.
You know what other thing he had about him that I didn't like?
What's that?
I don't think he offered anybody else a piece of gum.
No, I don't think he did either.
That whole damn time.
I don't think he did either.
So the chief tells Officer Wood, cruise around town. It's late at night. It's 2:30 or something in the morning. You start cruising around town looking for who committed this murder. And Warren Oates, in his search, Officer Wood, in his search, wanders into the train station where he finds Sidney Poitier waiting for a train, as you do at a train station. And he immediately pulls his gun on him and arrests him.
Yeah, and there's a moment too when Sidney Poitier reaches for his coat.
Yeah.
I assume to show his badge because he's a police officer.
Yeah.
And the Wood, gestures like he's going to shoot him if he does it.
Yeah.
And so he backs off, and he tells him that he has to be quiet the whole time, or he's going to let him have it.
Yeah.
So Virgil can't really do anything. He can't say anything. Can't ever really say I'm a cop. It was a moment that really early on in the film where I was like, this is 100% still relevant today.
Yeah.
I was so surprised by that. This movie is 50 years old.
Yeah, it is 50. I was thinking 40. It's 50.
50 years old this year.
Holy shnikes.
50 years old, and it is still relevant. How they treated him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's the consideration that a black person has to go through when a cop A, confronts them, and B, confronts them with a gun drawn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different than anybody else, and the fact that hasn't changed in 50 years is just insane. Absolutely insane.
Insane.
I'm sorry. I
That's
derailed you
okay.
again.
I mean, it's a bummer of a thing, but it needs to be discussed.
But were they supposed to be in Mississippi, right?
Mississippi, yeah.
They shot it in a place called Sparta, Illinois.
Oh, well, then that ruined the movie. No, I'm kidding. I joke. Sparta.
Well, so Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte are friends, and they did a thing, and they got attacked in the South. I can't remember where, but they were attacked by KKK and were almost killed.
Whoa!
So Poitier didn't want to shoot the movie in the true South, so they shot it in Illinois, Sparta, Illinois. Although
good to know,
the plantation scenes are in Tennessee.
Oh,
because I mean,
right.
I don't think there's really cotton plantations in Illinois.
Not that I know of, but I wasn't around back then.
50 years ago. What?
I know, it's hard to believe. So Wood gets Sidney Poitier's character all the way back to the police station.
Yep.
And fortunately, Chief Steiger is like, "Did you ask this guy any questions before you just arrested him and brought him in here?" And he's like, "Well, no, I didn't." And then something's going on, and Poitier's like, "Well, oh, yeah." Wood throws his money on the table, Poitier's money on the table,
yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, look how much money he's carrying around with him. Clearly, he killed that guy and took all the money in his wallet."
Yeah, he had like over $100 on him.
Yeah, and so then Chief Gillespie is like, "What do you do for a living that pays you that much money a week?" And he goes, "I'm a police detective in Philadelphia." Dragnet theme. And so that shuts up Chief Gillespie quite suitably for a moment or two, because now he's sitting there going, "Oh, crud, we got another fellow policeman here." And granted, I'm a racist jerk, and he is a black guy from a completely different state, but he is a man of the badge. And so fortunately, that gives Chief Gillespie pause, makes him reconsider the situation, because, we mentioned Southern justice earlier.
Yeah.
The concept of Southern justice is very unfortunate, but it's the idea of just a crime was committed, let's capture somebody and punish whoever we capture, and as soon as we capture them, look for absolutely anything that might vaguely point to them being guilty, and then convict them. Rather than, sure, we've got this guy, but he might not be the right guy, so we do need to keep looking for other actual criminals who committed the actual thing. And unfortunately, that happened a whole lot. Pretty much still does. West Memphis 3, not to mention several other things. And so
Central Park 5?
Central Park 5, well, that's Northern Justice.
What now?
I said, well, that's Northern Justice.
Well,
but,
okay. But I mean,
the
same idea.
Same exact concept.
The same mentality is what led to those teenagers being taken in the middle of the night and coerced into confessions of things that didn't happen.
Yep. So, yet another thing we're still kind of dealing with a little bit right here in good old USA. Chief Gillespie calls to Philadelphia, gets Detective Tibbs, commanding officer, I'm assuming a sergeant or another chief, on the phone, and then he's like, "Yeah, he wants to talk to you." Tibbs, Sidney Poitier's character, gets on the phone, and he's like, "What? Heck no, I'm like trying to get on a train to get back to Philadelphia." And then he says something along the lines of like, "Well, I don't think they're going to want my help." And so his chief says, "You stay there and you help those guys really solve this murder."
Right.
And Tibbs does it. And every time they catch a new suspect, you want it to be over with. And Tibbs wants it to be over with because he just wants to get the right guy and get home. But every time they meet a new suspect, he always finds something to prove that guy is actually innocent, and they need to keep looking. Now, they do solve this case in, 3, maybe 4 days?
Yeah,
they
roughly.
solve it very quickly. But it's a fun little whodunit. It's definitely a social commentary kind of movie. Tibbs gets chased by 4 white guy jerks. That's an interesting scene because as they have him surrounded, one's holding a shovel, one's holding a chain. One guy is holding like a weird little metal pipe.
Sorry, I had a cough.
It's all right, my man. It's all right. One guy's holding a weird little metal pipe. Tibbs picks up a really big metal pipe.
Yeah.
The other guys all keep their weapons, but the guy with the small pipe abandons his weapon. And I don't understand that at all.
Right.
But then just as they're about to attack, who shows up? Chief Gillespie. And he proceeds to smack the hell out of those guys.
Right.
Those armed men, because he's the chief. And they respect him.
Mm-hmm.
They're still bad guys. They continue to be bad guys. But he keeps one hand in his pocket and smacks the hell out of one dude and then gut punches another guy and they go running off.
Yeah.
And it's a tense moment. It's a tense moment.
Well, and those guys end up being a key to how they find the real killer.
Right.
I mean, not how they find them, but they end up in the same place at the same time.
Very true. Because they're friends with Chris Pine's character.
Not Chris Pine.
Now, not the real Chris Pine, but there's a character, Mr. Purdy, who, I'm telling you, I looked up the actor. I believe his last name was Patterson. But he looks like he could very easily be like Chris Pine's dad or uncle. It's pretty wild. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should we take it all the way to the end, or should we move on to Duel?
No, we can talk about it a little bit more. I mean, there's a lot of like really interesting things about the movie.
There definitely is.
You know, I'm trying to remember if it was the Oscar, if it was a different award that they got for this. But like, so before the movie was being made, Norman Jewison was on a ski trip in, I think, Colorado, and he got in an accident and broke his leg.
Oh my gosh.
And so he ended up in the hospital, and while he was in the hospital waiting area, Robert Kennedy was there, who, as we know, is a civil rights...
Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I guess his kid was also in an accident, and so they were there for his kid.
Oh.
And they began talking about what Jewison was up to, and he was talking about how he was going to do this movie. And...
Continue. I'm looking for the awards trivia on this.
And Kennedy said, you know, Jewison said that, like, you know, was a little bit nervous about it because of the content.
Yeah.
And Kennedy said, you know, it's going to be great. It's all about timing.
Ah.
And I don't remember if it was the Oscar or if it was what the other award would have been. But when Jewison went up to accept the award, Kennedy was the one who handed it to him. When he handed it to him, he said, "See, I told you, it's all about timing."
Whoa.
Which is really kind of a neat thing.
I'll say. And then, unfortunately, Robert Kennedy was killed in 1968, I think.
I don't remember the year.
Oh, God. All right, so I found the awards. Academy Awards. 1, Best Picture. Best Actor in a Leading Role for Rod Steiger.
Uh-huh. Wait, no, that's nomination in a leading role.
No, this is 1.
For Academy Award? Okay.
Yeah. Best Writing Screenplay for Sterling Silliphant. Best Sound, no name given. And Best Film Editing, good old Hal Ashby. Nominated, Best Director, Best Effects, Sound Effects. Golden Globes. Best Actor in a Drama, Sidney Poitier. Oh, nominated. Rod Steiger won the Golden Globe. Poitier was nominated for the Golden Globe.
Right.
I feel like I'm getting hoarse.
Oh, yeah?
I've gone, Stephen Toast. Have you been watching Toast?
Toast?
Toast of London with Matthew Berry.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
3 very short seasons, currently on Netflix. Completely absurd, absolutely hilarious.
Okay.
It's a good lunch break movie. I mean, show.
I made a couple of notes for some of the dialogue in the film.
I want to hear those notes.
One of them was, obviously they call me Mr. Tibbs.
Yes.
I had never seen this movie before, so I had seen that clip, but I had never seen the line that preceded it.
And you didn't know it was in the heat of the Tibbs?
I knew it was in the heat of the night. I didn't know what Rod Steiger said to him before it.
Gotcha.
Which can't be repeated on this podcast.
Well, he says, like, what do they call you in Philadelphia?
Well, yeah. But I mean, he drops the N-bomb right before that. Which is what boils his blood,
right?
And why he delivers it so commandingly. It changed how being able to actually see that in context better. Right. Changed how I felt about the line and how I saw the line. So I like that.
Yeah, Mr. Tibbs, that's a legendary moment right there.
The other one is. He near the end of the film, he goes to the place where the girl's going to get the abortion.
Oh, that's right.
And he tells he's sort of intimidating. Virgil's intimidating the black woman who runs the place.
Yeah.
And he threatens her with jail. And he says, "White time in jail and colored time in jail. The worst kind of time you can do is colored time."
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what a line. What a line.
Yeah, that was a doozy. And it
was great.
It convinced her, you know. 'Cause
Yep.
she knew. Because, I mean, here she was kind of, you know, living a bit of a high life. Like, what does she say? She's like, I've grown accustomed to a certain way of life.
Right.
Like, promise you're not going to try to take that away from me, you know?
Right.
And he says, like, I wouldn't try to take it away from you. Hey, you know who else is in this movie? Herschel from The Walking Dead. Scott Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. A very young, spry Scott Wilson. I always kind of trip out when I see actors that I've only known as sort of grandpa age, then getting to be very young. It always throws me for a loop.
Well, there's something interesting about his character in connection with Virgil in that, one, they're both wrongly convicted or wrongly accused and put in jail for the same crime. Two, people look down on what's Harvey.
Oberst.
People in the town, like, they gossip about him. They look down on him. He's sort of seen like a loser.
Yeah.
And they look down on Virgil in kind of a similar way, as if they're better than.
Yeah.
Like he's beneath them. And I love that because that's how Virgil solves this thing. Is like he talks to and sort of bonds with Harvey.
Yeah.
And that's how he's able to figure this out. It's you know, kind of goes back to the idea of, you know, working together and coming from a place of understanding and not judging people and whatnot. But I like that. There's one other actor in the movie that I really liked, and his name was Larry Gates, played Endicott, the plantation owner, the cotton.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He really stood out to me. He was really good. I thought his... when you first meet him, you almost think he may be a good guy.
Yeah.
You almost think he might be an ally. Like, he offers him something to drink, and he's very cordial, and then all of a sudden it's very much like, well, black people need to be taken care of.
Right.
You know, like...
What a
like
jerk.
You know, you have to raise them right. Throughout that conversation, you sort of get this feeling that, at least the way he played the character, this guy essentially equates himself to God.
Yo, for sure. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like, or he
power
wants
tripping
to be
like
a god.
Nobody's business.
It's crazy, and the immediate slap.
Yeah.
Like, Endicott slaps Virgil, and Virgil just right back at him, like
Right
without
back.
hesitation. It's so fantastic. I guess they only did 2 takes of that, and they hit each other for real.
Wow.
Which it looks like it. I mean, they didn't like wail on each other or anything. It's not like anybody looked like they got hurt over it.
Right.
But it's a great moment, and it's a character I thought was really well crafted.
You saw it, Gillespie. Now what are you gonna do about it?
I don't know.
Don't know. I'm gonna chew this gum.
I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah.
So I mean, did you like the movie?
I liked it.
I did too.
I didn't even doze off while watching it, which is not exactly a first, but it's a rarity for me watching an older movie.
It's one of those movies where
It's
like
in color. It's very vivid color, I would say.
Well, it's
Very
funny
beautiful.
that's funny that you say that. This is the first film that was lit specifically for a black person.
Huh.
No other film had ever gone to the point of making sure that they lit correctly so the colors and things would reflect. So he doesn't show up too dark. He doesn't show up too, you know, like things aren't blown out.
Yeah.
And he's not reflective like black people are in other films prior to this.
Wow.
This is the first color film where black
Right.
people were lit correctly.
That's wild.
Yeah, really cool, huh?
Now I'm trying to think of a movie that predates that where it wasn't lit correctly.
I'm sure we probably could.
Yeah. Wowzers. What a time.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I thought was really, you know, special about the film. That like I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it for some reason.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be bored by it, or I feel like, especially in this climate, like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to watch movies about racism because I'm just like, I feel like we're living it every day.
Right.
And,
but see, this is
I
when
think-
we need to be spreading the word.
well, and I think there's like, just to be like blunt and honest, I think there's like a sense of like helplessness that you sometimes feel, especially as a white person. You know, like it's happening, but you don't necessarily see it all the time.
Yeah.
So there's not like there's not a lot you can do always about it other than talk. And man, we've been doing a lot of talk this year. 2017's been insane, and so I wasn't really sure I wanted to just jump into this film, but I really, really liked it. Like I think we were about 30 minutes in, and then we had to pause for something. There was a delivery at the door or something.
Oh yeah,
And,
those rascally UPS guys.
And I remember coming back and hitting play again, or about to hit play and going, I looked at you, I was like, I really like this movie.
Yeah.
And you were like, I do too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, sir, I think we do need to keep talking about movies like this because much
yeah.
like View the Right Thing, it's like here we are in 2017 dealing with, yet again, all of these issues
Right.
that have been dealt with and discussed and sort of overcome, but then also just sort of swept under the rug and then resurfaced and boiled over yet again, and then sort of overcome and resolved, but also sort of swept under the rug. And it's like, it's maddening how not just frequently the cycle is continuing, but now it almost seems to just be like, it's back, it's gone for a week. It's back, it's
Right.
gone for a week. It's good, and it's getting so crazy.
Well,
Year of the cock, man, I tell you.
the last thing I'll say is that this is considered to be the first part in a trilogy of films.
Oh, yeah?
Like a loose trilogy.
Oh,
not-
yeah, what was the sequel?
Well, there wasn't a real sequel. It's...
Wasn't there something else with Tibbs, though?
oh, I don't know.
Dang it. This is
Not
on
not,
the tip of my
not
tongue.
by Norman Jewison.
Right.
This is like the first. So there's another movie called A Soldier Story that,
Okay.
that deals with racism that Norman Jewison did, and it stars an unknown actor at the time, Denzel Washington.
Whoa.
Interesting. Would go on and win the Best Actor as well.
Yeah.
And then he did the third film in what sort of this sort of racism trilogy, The Hurricane, with
Denzel Washington?
Denzel Washington and Rod Steiger.
Rod Steiger's in The Hurricane?
Yep.
Who is he?
I'll tell you. He.
Who is he? Oh, yeah, They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, 1970. Looks like he's in San Francisco.
Rod Steiger is. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull it up here. Where is he? Right here.
Oh, and then there's The Organization, 1971, Virgil Tibbs.
Where Hurricane?
So there was a Tibbs trilogy.
But it's not. It's not Poitier, is it?
Yeah.
It is really.
Yeah, buddy. We should do that. We should watch the Mr. Tibbs trilogy.
He's the judge in The Hurricane.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is he chewing gum the whole time?
Yeah, like he
Is he
just
like-
he moved from being a police chief to sheriff to mayor to
Yeah.
governor,
And then
judge.
And then there's that scene where he's like, "Order in the court! Order in the court! I will not have Mars attacks in my courtroom."
Yeah,
That
happens.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this and haven't watched In the Heat of the Night, get on the ball.
Yeah,
It's an important movie. Check it out. Get woke.
get
And
woke.
get woke any day of your life, really. If you're listening to our podcast and you're not woke, I'd be pretty surprised anyway. But View the Right Thing, you guys. Should we talk about 1971?
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg's
Duel.
Duel.
Cool, I
That
just-
was not me.
Through my mic. Sorry, folks. Through my mic pack. Sorry about that.
Well, the good news is it has
Apologize.
this very beautiful, very hard wooden floor to land on.
Yeah.
Yikes! Are you still?
I don't see any like when I'm quiet. I don't see like static or anything.
Whoop. I'm the top one. Okay,
You're the
so you're
top
the bottom. Okay,
Um.
that was a
Yeah.
long
Duel.
fall.
So
pretty
I
kick-A movie.
came up with this idea
Kicks a lot of A.
a while back,
Yeah.
where I was like, hey, I love Steven Spielberg, and I want to go through all of his films, and we should do that for the show. It could always be our second film. Let's do them in order. So that's what we're doing. And so we had to start with number 1, Duel.
Duel.
And I will say...
The jaws of the road.
I will say that I'm going to make a ruling now that we will consider Twilight Zone the movie.
Whoa.
We will also consider...
Poltergeist?
Whoa. Spielberg stuff. I mean, he did do a segment out of Twilight Zone the movie. He just didn't do all 4 segments.
A question arose in my mind while we were watching Duel.
Yeah.
And I think the answer is yes. And I think it's yes very recently, but I can't think of what the answer is. But have Steven Spielberg and Stephen King ever collaborated on anything?
Besides TV?
Yeah, what are they collaborating with on TV? Is that Castle Rock?
So Castle Rock is J.J. Abrams, so
Okay.
Spielberg may have a hand in that. I'm not 100%
Why
sure.
do I feel like
Green Mile.
The Green Mile. My gosh, I can't believe
Which is actually Frank Darabont, but I think Spielberg produced it.
Okay.
I want to clarify really quickly. That was not Steven Spielberg making that movie.
I understand.
I think Spielberg produced it. You know what? I should look
feel
that
like
up.
there was something
Let's look that up.
that King definitely wrote that Spielberg definitely directed. And I can't believe, as a movie hound, that
One of us doesn't know.
don't just know right off the top of my head.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Other than producing stuff.
I'm upset with myself.
I'm pretty sure he...
I'm upset with candidate Roy Moore.
Well...
I'm upset with everybody who voted for Roy Moore.
Maybe we shouldn't delve into it. Let's just say... No, I mean the Spielberg thing. I mean, there's just a lot to discuss. I feel like maybe we should kind of jump into Steven Spielberg's first.
Spielberg directed Children of the Corn.
No, he
did not at all. Not even
Absolutely
close.
did not direct Children of the Corn. He was very close friends with Stanley Kubrick, who did The Shining.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, all I can think of is I think he produced The Green Mile, or was an executive producer on it or something.
That sounds correct.
I couldn't get it. Oh, there he comes up now. I was having a hard time getting his name to come up on IMDb. Let's see here. Nope. Producer, BFG, Jurassic World. We're only considering things that he directed, by the way.
Yes, that's my question. Has Spielberg ever flat out directed something that Stephen King wrote? And I feel like the answer is yes.
I don't think so.
Look, I kind of want to be wrong if I don't know it off the top of my head. Frankly, that's making me very sad.
Who wrote Lovely Bones? Was that Stephen King? That was Stephen King, right?
I think so, but wasn't that...
He executive produced it as well.
Oh, okay. But we're looking for straight out directing.
Yeah, I don't think he straight up directed anything that was written by Stephen King. I don't think.
I think you're correct. But I don't know. For some reason, my brain is just like, no, that must have happened by now, right? And I'm okay with it having not happened. Because if it did happen and I can't remember it, I'm going to feel like a fraud.
Yeah, I don't know what possibly... Not Schindler's List. Did you know he produced he was an executive producer on Cape Fear?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no.
Come out wherever you are.
All right, we gotta move on. Actually, talk about this movie.
We do.
Are you ready to talk about this movie?
Duel.
Starring
Dennis Weaver, 1971.
He did not produce The Green Mile. I apologize. I was incorrect. I was pretty sure Spielberg was involved in that, but he was not.
Well, just for that, I'm going to drink some iced tea.
Okay, you do that. Okay, so Steven Spielberg is this young filmmaker that Sid Sheinberg...
13 when he directed Duel.
He was not 13. Sid Sheinberg took a liking to and brought him in to Universal.
Yeah.
And had him doing like TV shows and stuff, which is not what Steven Spielberg wanted to do. He didn't want to like be on sets and like have things look really fake, and like he wanted to be out in the real world and shooting things, which is why when you see especially his early films, they're largely shot on location.
Yeah.
All of Duel is shot on location.
Wisely shot on location.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to Jaws at some point, but I mean,
Yes, we will.
That's a whole nightmare situation shooting on location. But
I can swim.
so he was super young. He didn't really know what he was doing.
Yeah.
People didn't like that. He would
course.
show up on set. This kid would show up, and they were supposed to take direction from him or whatever. He was referred to in the inner circles as Scheinberg's Folly.
Oh.
They were sure he was going to be a failure.
I'll say it. There are better insults floating around out there.
Yeah.
But that's, it's a doozy.
He did a movie with Joan, or a show with Joan Crawford.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like his first, like, hey, I have respect. Like, Joan Crawford showed him a lot of respect and actually paid attention to the things he was saying, and he actually got to direct her. And I think that's sort of viewed as sort of his first, like, hey, maybe there's something else going on here with this kid.
Right.
He was doing episodes of Columbo.
Oh, yeah.
And his visual style is very different than what you would normally see on TV.
Right.
And so his secretary, he was frustrated because he was wanting to do something else. He was wanting to do a movie or something. And his secretary saw this script, or knew about this script, for a movie of the week. And she told him about it, and he read it and like totally connected with it. And it was written by George Matheson, I think.
Sounds about right. I
who
got the
wrote
cast and crew in front of me, huh?
He had this experience.
Richard Matheson.
Thank you. It was a real life experience, and then he turned it into a short story and put it in Playboy. That's where she had read it first. Universal had purchased the film rights for it. So he read it, he loved it, connected with it, got these ideas, and he went to the guy who was in charge and said, I want to do this. And they were like, well, show me your reel. Show me the most recent thing you've done.
Yeah.
So he went and got an edit of Columbo that hadn't even aired yet that he had done, and took that. And then like a few days went by and he didn't hear anything. And then like 3 or 4 days later, he gets a phone call and they say, we want you to do it.
Cool.
So he gets his first like feature thing, and it was like 74 minutes or 73 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And in order to run it as a film in overseas, they had to extend time to it. So when you watch Duel now, it's 90 minutes.
Cool.
So it's an hour and a half.
Cool.
Because Americans view features differently than overseas. So in the United States, a feature, I think, is anything over 46 minutes.
Wow,
technically.
really?
Yeah. So like if you're up for an Oscar, a feature film qualifies, I think, at 46 minutes, and anything 45 minutes and under is considered a short film.
That's insane. I thought a feature had to be at least 75.
I don't think so. I believe
Wow.
unless it's changed, I believe it's still 46.
Yeah. Did you watch Lake Nowhere yet?
I have not. I don't know what
Really insanely pretty interesting horror movie that does not seem like it's going to be when you start watching it. 50 minutes long. I was very impressed.
Huh.
We're talking Duel, 73 minutes, made for American television. You buy a copy now, it's going to be 90 minutes long with some additional scenes shot in. That's pretty cool. Duel.
Yeah. So he goes about like figuring out how he's going to shoot this movie. He like storyboards it and stuff. He pays a guy to do this really cool thing I'll tell you about in a second. But the production manager on this, who's like sort of in charge of like okaying everything.
Yeah. Johnny Greenlight.
Wallace Worsley. I think it's Wallace Worsley Jr. But who also worked with him on E.T.
All right.
He went to him and said, I want to shoot the whole thing on location. And the guy's like, no, you need to go out to the desert, to the highways, shoot the plates, come back. We'll do everything in studio, in a car, where they have the grips moving the car, and then they project the plates on screens around the car, and that's when you get those really fakey looking, but really common in the 70s.
Sure.
And it's the thing is they only gave him like 10 days to shoot this thing because it's a TV movie, So that's the most cost and time efficient way to shoot something like that in that short of a time. Go out, shoot the plates, come back, and do it all on the cars. And he was like, no, it has to all be actually shot on location. I don't want to be in a studio for this.
Yeah.
And so Worsley said, go out and shoot the plates on the first day. Then take 3 days And if after, I think he was either halfway through the third day or on the third day, if you're still in budget and you're still on time with your schedule, then you can keep shooting out on location.
Wow.
Otherwise, you got to come back. And so, I mean, it turns out he did it. So what he did is he paid I don't know if what the correct term is, not an actual map maker.
Okay.
I don't think, but he paid an artist to create an overhead route of the actual highway that they were going to use.
Okay.
And then he put it up all over his hotel room that he stayed in. Now, I picture this, if you've seen Stranger Things 2.
Yeah.
I picture it like that. I don't know if that's actually what it looked like.
I have a feeling it wasn't quite that expansive.
My understanding, though, is it was actually the route in the room.
Wow.
Not to scale, obviously. But
I hope it was all just on one wall, though.
I don't know.
Wow.
I just don't know. And then what he did is he wrote key points on there. Wrecks into fence here, at the diner, or truck pulls over here, stare down, or whatever,
Yeah.
And so, because you shoot things out of order, basically what he did is he went through this thing and he crossed stuff off as they had done it, and that's how he was able to keep track of where they needed to be, what they needed to shoot there, because it's really complicated when you're dealing with an actual stretch of highway.
Yeah.
The other thing he did to save time and money that is kind of really cool about this is he would shoot for a day on like a stretch of highway, and he would have, let's say, the cameras on the left-hand side, shooting towards the rock walls on the right, of the cars driving, always driving, from right to left or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then they would get to a point on the highway, they would stop, turn everything around, and shoot going back the direction on their way back to one. So they would,
of course,
so they would be able to essentially sort of double how much time they were spending. So instead of like shooting it and then go back to one and taking 20 minutes to go back, they just shot while they were going back because it looked different on the other side. So it looked
incredible.
Really
It
smart.
seems like the simplest idea now that we've heard it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, if we were on set, whoever would be like, okay, now take them all back to one, and everybody have a smoke while you do it.
Yeah.
It's like the guy was just flat out born to troubleshoot his way through movies. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing that he talks about a lot. And one of the things that fascinates me about him is like he says he's like to this day, before once he gets to set and stuff, even before set, he's nervous. He's nervous. He has nerves every time, and he's like, that's how I know I'm going to do the right thing, is because I'm nervous about it. If I stop being nervous, then something's wrong. I've become complacent or something.
Wow.
And I think that those, like, giving Steven Spielberg restrictions it always turns out really, really interesting. And we'll talk about that more in a couple movies, but I think Duel, what he did with what they gave him is kind of a masterpiece. It's intense. It's kind of funny at times.
A little bit funny at times.
You know what he's doing with misdirection, but you never really know what the answer is, which is great. Like when, so basically the story. Do you want to talk about what the story is?
Well, it's a guy is leaving Los Angeles to drive to some meeting he's got to go to for work, way up the freeway. I guess away. Towards Palmdale or something, and he's just driving for a while. Well, very early in his trip, he gets behind a tractor trailer hauling flammable fuel. And so, the guy's not going too fast. So our hero, played by Dennis Weaver, the character of David Mann, he sees that he's got an opportunity to pass. So he passes the truck. And apparently that sends the driver of this truck, whom we never clearly see, into a murderous rage. And he decides he is going to kill David Mann, driver of this Plymouth Valiant, on the road today. And so he chases him for miles and miles and miles.
So let's talk about the truck and the guy.
It's filthy.
Played by Kerry Lofton, the truck driver. He asked Spielberg what his motivation was, and Spielberg said something to the effect of like, "You're a dirty, rotten, no good son of a bitch." and Lofton, like, I guess, looked at him and said, "Kid, you hired the right man."
It's funny. His picture on IMDb is just the truck.
Is it really?
Yeah,
that's funny.
I'll see if he's got any more.
So when Spielberg got to choose a vehicle, he chose something that was a little older. And he chose a truck that to him had character. There's something interesting about the truck, and that it is very like kind of menacing.
Yeah.
It's filthy and disgusting. It's got bugs smeared all over it. The windows are hard to see out of. There's oil everywhere on top of it, going across everything. I guess every day when the actors were in makeup, they essentially were doing makeup to the truck too. They had people with like hoses and brushes and stuff, like reapplying oil and
Just
stuff.
making it look
to filthy.
outside.
Yeah. And all it's done specifically so you don't really ever get a very good view of Kerry Lofton.
Right.
But the reason he chose the specific design of the truck was a lot of the trucks were sort of like, they just look like cabs, like what you normally kind of think of when you think of like trucks in that age. He chose this truck because it had a snout.
Yeah.
It had big windows for eyes and it had mirrors for ears. He wanted, and the grill was sort of a mouth. So he wanted, because you were never really going to see, and it was written in the script that way and in the short story that you never really understood what this guy looked like.
Yeah.
So he knew from the beginning you were never going to see the driver. So that manifestation is in the sort of the face of the vehicle itself, which is kind of cool, right?
Real cool. Real cool.
You want to? So he gets chased.
I was just picturing the scary truck.
Yeah. So
who wins in a fight? Dual truck or maximum overdrive truck?
Oh boy. Well, maximum overdrive truck is sentient.
Oh no. But I mean, dual truck is being driven by a sentient human being.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about the human being in the truck.
Yeah.
So, what else does the movie tell us visually that they never tell us through story, through dialogue or anything?
He's a white guy. He wears cowboy boots.
But what is it that about? Why does he want to kill this guy? Or maybe not. Why is maybe not the right question.
Right, because that's definitely not clearly answered. I feel like it's always just assumed that, like, you know, he's just having a real terrible day, and here comes some jerk passing him on the road, and he just decides it's that jerk's bad day.
So this truck driver is a serial killer.
Oh.
And you know this because he has the different license plates attached to the front of his truck.
Oh.
Those are the vehicles that he's killed in other states.
Oh, I never put that together.
Right.
I was always wondering, why the heck would he have that many different license plates?
Exactly.
I thought it was some sort of old-time trucker law that you had to have different plates.
Those were trophies.
Wow.
So, yeah,
good call.
Fun little fact for you.
Yeah. What a creep.
So man, just driving, trying to get away, ends up crashing, getting some whiplash, ends up in that diner. That's probably my favorite scene is inside the diner.
Yeah.
That's that misdirection that we're kind of talking about. Like, we know what Spielberg's doing, but we don't have an answer for it.
Right.
So he goes to the bathroom and comes out of the bathroom and sees that the truck is outside the cafe.
Uh-oh.
The cafe, I think is how
Chuck's Cafe is how you pronounce it.
He orders a cheese sandwich. I made a note of this. I literally wrote it down in my notes. Yeah. He orders a cheese sandwich, a Swiss cheese on rye. And when the waitress brings it, he asks for ketchup for his sandwich.
Well, he doesn't even. She says anything else, and he says, like, no, that'll be fine. Yeah. And then she walks away, he goes, ketchup. I should ask for ketchup.
Yeah.
Which is
he wanted ketchup for his Swiss cheese on rye.
Swiss on rye sandwich.
It bothers me. It feels, if there was a mistake in this movie, this feels like it was the mistake of the film. So speaking of mistakes, there's a couple things that I didn't show you. The one that's actually in the movie still. One, they cropped out. So there's multiple cuts of this film.
Yeah.
It was designed. It was made for 4x3 TVs. There's TV cropping that was going to happen, but they don't shoot it on a 4x3 film stock. They shoot it on 16:9 or the 1/8x3. I think what they did is they shot it 16:9 with the idea that it was going to get cropped out.
Yeah.
There is a shot in the regular 16:9 version,
all right,
where you can see Steven Spielberg in the back seat of the car.
Oh, really?
He did some of his own camera work.
Cool.
And he did his directing from the backseat of the car.
Wow.
He also when Man goes to the phone booth and shuts the glass door, you can actually see Steven Spielberg reading the script and following along out in the reflection of the phone booth.
Wow. That's hilarious.
The two unintentional cameos. Speaking of the phone booth,
yeah,
he did his own stunt there.
Dennis Weaver did.
Dennis
huh?
Weaver, yeah.
That's scary.
So they did.
It's terrifying.
So there's a scene where he's in the phone booth and the truck starts coming, and we as the audience see the truck barreling down on him, and then he sees it the last second, jumps out and smashes it. They did the thing for real.
Oh my god.
And what they did is they flagged off sections of, like off camera, they put flags out. Mm-hmm. And the driver of the truck, it was assumed Kerry Lofton, when he got to the last flag, if Weaver was still in the phone booth, his job was to turn the truck.
Okay, that's good to know.
So,
holy moly.
Yeah.
That's a terrifying stunt.
Yeah, it really is. But I guess it's one that Dennis Weaver was really happy that he had done. Like, he did his own driving stuff. There's a scene where the car goes up an embankment a little bit, and it ends up, you can see the horizon tilt. Yeah. And so he did that himself.
Wow.
I don't know, kind of cool.
Yeah, man, it's a great movie. It's Duel, baby.
Yeah. The Weaver was really Spielberg's first choice. Like there was a bunch of names talked about.
Oh yeah.
And they were started to rattle off who they could get, and this name came up, and he had seen him in Touch of Evil, and he's like a real character in that. He's like real crazy, and he was like, "That's what I need by the end of my film." And so, that's what he's trying to push him to get to that character's kind of craze by the end of the film, which is cool.
Touch of Evil, is that Orson Welles?
Yeah, I believe so.
Wow. And Dean Stockwell, right?
Maybe.
A touch of evil.
Or a couple more things. I'm trying to think about. Another moment I really love is near the end of the film. He's driving his car and he sees the cop on the side of the road. Yeah. So he swerves to go and talk to get help from the cop, and when he gets there, it's a pest control. Yeah. With like a ladybug on the top that makes it look like the red thing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's one of my favorite Mr. X. But what's really great about that is, did you notice the name of the...
Oh, man, I remember reading it. And it was...
Greb Leaps.
It was what?
Greb Leaps Pest Control.
Greb Leaps?
Yep, Greb Leaps Pest Control.
But it was 2 words. Wasn't it Greb Leaps? Like as if the guy's name was Greb Leap or something like that?
Maybe. It might have been.
Because I feel like it was 2.
I thought it was 1. I could
Greb
be wrong.
Leaps. What's Greb Leaps?
Spielberg backwards.
Oh my God. I'm an idiot. That's great.
So that's another
Greb
little thing I thought was kind of clever. There's a whole thing. There's like a controversy about the Incredible Hulk with this as well.
What?
So there's an episode of the Incredible Hulk where they used a bunch of footage from Duel as stock footage.
That's hilarious.
And apparently people called into the TV station and complained about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny as hell.
Another kind of known story is there was a young budding director who was at a party one night when Duel was on. Yeah. And he went upstairs to watch it, a minute of it, because he heard about this young kid, Steven Spielberg. Yeah. And he ended up sitting down and watching the whole thing. Those two ended up becoming very, very close friends. One might say best friends. Yeah. That man was George Lucas.
George
Lucas. George Star Wars Lucas.
George
THX 1138 Lucas.
I was trying to think of his most underappreciated movie.
Underappreciated?
Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
George Phantom Menace Lucas.
16 days. The movie was shot in 16 days.
I'm going to see it in an hour and 45 minutes.
Cool. Let's stay on track, because there's a lot about Duel that we can I'm
getting very excited.
This is one of these things that I feel like we have a movie where there's a lot of really interesting kind of factoids about it. So I kind of wanted to...
I just can't help it. I'm getting excited. I'm excited about it.
I do want to talk about something that is modern with license plates that is a misconception. So there's an idea that you would have multiple license plates to pay to deal with state taxes, which is why a lot of... but that's not the reason those plates are on that. Okay. From what I understand, is that he's killed people in other states, and those are trophies.
Scary.
And maybe he uses those trophies to not pay the state taxes or whatever. Yeah. But that's my my
Do you think he has to pay to re-register them every time? Or?
I'm sorry?
You got to re-register your vehicle every year.
Yeah. There is a board game that Parker Brothers made for this. If you ever find it, please feel free to get it for me.
Duel the board game.
Duel the board game. Did not sell well.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Oh, the thing I pointed out to you at the end of the film that we rewound it and watched.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
The noise?
Yeah.
The Noid from Domino's Pizza?
No.
Well, you pointed out about how when the truck... If you haven't seen Duel, why are you listening? You should have seen it. Here comes a spoiler. When the truck is about to go over the big cliff, and it's super duper slow motion, and we're hearing all sorts of crashing, crunching, skidding, through the sand, screeching and whatnot noises. And you said we hear the noise of a dinosaur.
A dinosaur. So he wanted the sound of like a dinosaur roar. Like the idea that this was more than just a machine. That this was something like a beast. It was
Truckosaurus.
Truckosaurus.
You've seen Truckosaurus, right?
Yeah, like from The Simpsons.
Well, it's a real thing.
No, I've seen it in person. I saw it shoot fire at a monster truck show one time.
I've never seen it in person. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Truckosaurus.
Now there's another story about, and I'm not going to get too heavy into it because I don't know it very well.
All right.
That the studio didn't want to show. I think they didn't want to show the truck. They didn't want to destroy a truck.
Oh, see, I remember there being something about they were insisting that he goes back and films the truck exploding.
Maybe that's what it was. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to show it bleeding. He wanted to show the truck dying, essentially. It's like the fan and the blood and the gas and the oil and stuff.
Tire.
It may have been an exploding thing. There is some controversy around that. There was, I think, another ending.
I think it was they were like, why doesn't the truck explode? What are you doing? The people want an explosion. He was like, no, you're not. You don't get it, you guys.
I did also make a note that he when he sort of gives the truck the slip and parks on the side of a train tracks and takes a nap, he goes to sleep outside essentially a car graveyard. Yeah, it's just a bunch of just old dead rusting cars, which I thought was kind of haunting and kind of telling.
Be careful, David Mann. You might be in one of those cars.
Yeah.
Waiting to happen.
Good stuff.
Scary.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else really interesting about the car. He drives a Valiant. Plymouth Valiant.
Plymouth
We
Valiant.
talked about that a little bit.
Bright red Plymouth Valiant. Oh, yeah. I was trying to find out if the red car that Sidney Poitier drives in the heat of the night was a Plymouth Fury like Christine. Because it looks a whole lot like it, but I couldn't get a good look at any of the insignia. But what if we just watched 2 movies featuring bright red Plymouths? Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Christmas time, red's a holiday color. So here we are. You know what else is pretty cool about Duel?
Yeah, what's that?
It's a good, exciting, scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
But when does it take place? 100% in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to make a super scary movie that's 100%
because
in broad daylight.
He used suspense and just that speed. He used speed to his ability. They shot. They did very little high speed where they had to ramp up this fast speed up the frame. Apparently, there was a problem with the cameras, and the camera started slowing down, and it went from 24 frames per second down, and they're probably shooting 16 millimeter film, is my guess, down to 12 frames per second. So that stuff they ended up having to speed up, but or I guess that stuff would be sped up.
Yeah.
A lot of the other stuff was done at slower speeds, but what he would do is he would use a couple of things. They used a special kind of not picture car, like a follow vehicle, essentially, that they would have their camera mounted on, and it was a special kind of car that it was custom made that the DP had made himself, I believe.
Wow.
Where the camera was lower to the ground than it normally is in a follow car.
Oh, wow.
And so that allowed him to kind of get down lower and get better angles of the actor.
Right.
But also you'd see more of like the tires and stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing they did is they shot in sort of canyon-esque areas where the rock walls were very close to the cars, to the road. So when you're going 35, 40 miles an hour, I mean, it's fast, but it's not that fast.
Right.
They're supposed to be going 55, 60 to 80 at times, right?
100 at one point.
Yes. So shooting those rock walls at 40 miles an hour, they look like they're going a lot faster than they are because they're so close to the car.
That's a really good move.
They used like longer lenses that changes how things look speed-wise on film as well. So by using a longer lens, they were able to kind of like capitalize on some things that way.
Pretty radical.
Yeah, I mean, he really approached this with a lot of thought. I mean, he's a camera guy. That was one of the things that people knew about him as a kid. It was like, oh, here's the lens guy. Yeah. You know, like this is the guy on the lens. He didn't really have experience directing actors. Yeah, you know, that came later. But he understood what he wanted things to look like, and he understood how to make that happen. And because of that, I mean,
he's Steven Spielberg.
Because of that, he's Steven Spielberg. Exactly.
I mean, how many household name directors are there really? You know, maybe 6.
Yeah, you're right. It was the explosion thing. I just looked it up, by the way. It was that they wanted the car to explode, the truck to explode.
Yeah. Rad movie, man. I'm coming up on go time.
Oh yeah, Steve's got places to be. Folks, we got it. So, you want to announce? I don't have a bucket for Joey's thing, but I do know what movie we're going to watch, and I told it to you. So, if you want to announce the movie that Joey and I are going to watch for the next episode of View the Right Thing,
on the next episode of View the Right Thing, Wes and Joey watch Black Dynamite. Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
I am too.
I think it's a really fun film. Joey's never seen it. I'm told that she has some stories about it, even though she's never seen it. So I'm curious to find out what that's about.
All right. So I don't get to draw from the bucket for our next movie.
No,
that's going to happen in the next episode.
Yeah, Joey and I will draw the next movie for you and I.
We'll draw for us. And then we've already got one predetermined.
We know that Sugarland Express is the next one for Steve and I, for Spielberg.
The Sugarland Express, starring
Goldie Hawn. The beautiful Goldie Hawn.
Kurt Russell's lady.
Yep.
I love you, Goldie Hawn. I said, I love you. Oh, she's not here. I'm not really yelling at her.
Okay. William Atherton's in it.
Bill Atherton, huh?
Yeah, I feel like guys who play jerks usually.
Yeah. Folks, next time you hear from me, I will have seen Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yeah. But probably not till after the new year.
Probably not. Which means all of you will probably have seen Star Wars The Last Jedi. So I'll keep my report brief. I got to hit the road, man.
All right, man. Well, thank you for going on this journey with me.
Thank you for having me, and I'll try not to PO any monster trucks on the way home.
That sounds like a good plan. All right. Until next time, everyone. Bon cinema.